Hey, before we start, I want you to take a second and really think about this question. If everything you depend on financially suddenly became unstable tomorrow, how prepared would you actually be? My name is Olivia, and you're watching Smart Money Hub. And what I'm about to tell you is not fear or drama. It's reality that most people are completely ignoring right now. Right now, the world feels calm. People are paying bills, going shopping, traveling, posting luxury lifestyles on social media. Everything looks normal, almost too normal. And that is exactly why this moment is dangerous. Because in history, every major financial crisis has always come after a period where everything looked fine, when people felt comfortable and stopped paying attention. And that is exactly where the real risk begins. Not during chaos, but during calm. Right now, most people are living on financial autopilot. They wake up, go to work, earn money, spend money, and repeat. And on the surface, it feels stable. But underneath, something very different is happening. Prices are rising slowly, but incomes are not keeping up. Credit is becoming easier, but debt is also increasing, and people are slowly shifting into a lifestyle where they rely more on future money than present savings. And this creates a hidden pressure that most people don't even notice. Because when your lifestyle depends on money you haven't actually secured yet, you are always one small emergency away from serious financial stress. And the scary part is most people don't see it coming. They think they are fine just because they are paying their bills today. But being okay today does not guarantee safety tomorrow. Economies move in cycles: expansion, comfort, overconfidence, and then correction. And right now, many people are in that comfort phase where everything feels stable. So they stop being careful. They spend more, borrow more, and assume things will stay the same forever. But that assumption is the first mistake. And this is exactly what we call the calm before the storm. Not because something specific is guaranteed to happen on a date, but because patterns are already forming quietly in the background, and those who are not paying attention are the ones who get surprised later. Most people think financial problems start suddenly, but in reality they build slowly over time until they become impossible to ignore. Inflation is one of the biggest silent forces behind this, because it doesn't just show up in numbers on news channels. It directly affects your daily life, your groceries, your rent, your transport. Everything slowly becomes more expensive while salaries stay almost the same. And that difference creates pressure that builds month after month. What used to feel affordable becomes slightly harder. And that slightly harder continues growing until people realize they are working the same job, but feeling more financial stress than ever before. And this is where most people get trapped, because instead of adjusting their spending habits, they try to maintain their lifestyle, sometimes using credit or loans, which brings short-term comfort, but long-term pressure. Debt is not always bad. But uncontrolled debt is one of the fastest ways to lose financial freedom because it brings future obligations into your present life, meaning you are no longer just working for today. You are working for past decisions. And when many people in a society start doing this at the same time, the entire system becomes fragile even if it still looks normal on the surface. Another hidden factor is emotional spending. Because when people feel stressed, bored, or uncertain, they don't usually save money. They spend it, and companies understand this psychology very well. That's why advertising is everywhere, designed to trigger emotional buying decisions rather than logical financial planning. Slowly, people build lifestyles that require constant income just to maintain, with no buffer, no safety net, just survival mode. And when there is no financial buffer, even a small disruption like a delayed salary, a medical emergency, or a job change can create serious pressure. And this is exactly where financial storms form, not in sudden moments, but in slow accumulation of unprepared decisions. And interestingly, these storms don't affect everyone equally, because some people struggle heavily, while others remain stable or even grow stronger during the same conditions. And the difference is not luck. It is preparation, awareness, and discipline. Right now, while everything feels calm, smart people are quietly doing things that most others ignore. They are not trying to predict the future. They are preparing for uncertainty. They reduce unnecessary expenses without completely changing their lifestyle. They build savings consistently even if it feels small, and they focus on understanding how money actually works instead of just working for money. These simple habits might not look powerful on their own, but together they create financial stability that becomes extremely valuable when conditions change. Because the truth is, you don't build protection during a storm, you build it while the sky is still clear. And this is where most people make their biggest mistake. They wait until pressure arrives before they start thinking about preparation, but by then it is already too late. Financial awareness is not about fear, it is about control. Because once you understand the pattern, you stop reacting emotionally and start making decisions logically. And that is what separates people who struggle from people who stay stable even in difficult times. So before we end, I want you to think honestly about your own situation. If your income stopped for just 1 month, how would your life change? Because that simple question reveals more about financial security than any income number ever can. And now I want to ask you something. Do you think the people around you are actually financially prepared for the future? Or are they just living day to day without thinking ahead? Leave your answer in the comments because I read them and I really want to know your perspective. If this video made you think differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it because sometimes one conversation can completely change someone's financial direction. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Smart Money Hub because here we talk about real money truths in a simple way that actually makes sense. This is Olivia, signing off.